What's happening, guys? Welcome back to An American in Poland. I'm Kenny. Thanks for coming. So, this weekend I had a really cool experience and found some things that might be a little bit different here in Poland than they are in the USA. So, I went to the Retro Motor Show at the Targi here in Poznan. And one thing I found is that car shows in Poland are really a different experience from what I've experienced in the United States. So now, first things first, Polish car shows, or at least this car show, was really over the top. You find that instead of it being individual, exhibitions, so instead of it being just one person showing off a car, which is quite typical in an American car show, is that the spaces were rented out by clubs, and then the clubs, each member had maybe one or two of their own cars there. But it's pretty rare to find a section that's all owned by one person. And so that was one thing that's kind of unique. Car shows in the United States typically tend to be you drive your car to the show, or maybe you bring it in on a trailer, but even at that, that's pretty rare until you start getting into the very, very high-end Concours d'Elegance at Pebble Beach or something like this. Hershey, maybe, if you're coming in from a long distance with a very old car that just couldn't make the trip. So your big national car shows, you might see stuff trailered in, but even at that, the majority get driven in. Second of all, the people, the way that they had their displays set up was also very different. They kind of, for example, there was one setup that was set up with furniture from the PRL here in Poland, which is when Poland was a communist country. And so they had kind of all this nostalgic type stuff set up around. They had another static display where it looked like a garage and the car was being worked on. And so these are things that are very unique and bring a different level to the shows. Now, another thing that I found very interesting here is the amount of what we'll call new classics at the car show. A lot of cars from the 90s and early 2000s. And while I realize, they're over 20 years old in the United States, you just don't see that. I believe that even today, most car shows, they have a cutoff on the dates, and a lot of shows, especially in New England, I think like 1985 is the last year, or is the newest car that you can show in the shows. Now there are other shows that are specific to kind of modern tuning and things like this, where you will see those cars, but for the most part, you just don't see newer automobiles at the show. And here, I'd have to say that probably 60% of the cars at this retro motor show were 1980 or newer. It was really kind of a different experience for me. And you don't see, custom hot rods really here. There was a few. There was a beautiful 1956 Ford here that somebody had imported, and that one was really unique, but, it was an American hot rod. As far as European cars being hot rodded, the closest you can get is the Citroën 2 Chevaux group. And they're really kind of the only ones I can think of that had anything similar to what we would call a hot rod. And even at that, it's not drivetrain, it's only body. There are a lot more limitations due to regulations from the government here as to what kind of modifications can be done to your car. So that affects that. But yeah, you know, you don't see any hot rods. General rule to speak of here. Now, another thing I thought was really interesting is that at this show, you saw tractors, you saw a whole section of fire equipment, which was really kind of interesting. There was even biplanes. So, you know, it's just something you don't normally see at a car show in the United States. I don't think that either one is better than the other. I just think it's different. And the main difference for me that I've noticed was that it was held indoors. They did it at this large conference center here in Poznan, whereas typically American car shows, they happen outdoors. And once again, until you start getting into the very high-end car shows where you've got cars that are worth millions of dollars, then you'll see they have indoor elements. But even at that, a lot of it, especially at Pebble Beach, it's tents. It's not, convention centers. So that was very unique for me. Coming from New England, the majority of our car shows are in a field or a parking lot. And, they do have that sort of thing here in Poland, where they have like kind of what we would call a cruise night in the U.S., where the guys go out for a ride. They also have the clubs. The one that you typically see the most out and about is the Wielkopolski Auto Club. They're the biggest club here in this region. And they do a few different events that travel around, which is really cool. But the one that I've noticed the most is actually the Fiat 126P club. Those guys are everywhere. And I think it's really unique to see those. But you don't see them sitting static, kind of like at a show, like you would in the United States as frequently. I hope you guys have enjoyed getting to see some of the differences from U.S. versus Poland. Like I said, I don't think one is better than the other. I think they're very unique systems in their own right. I think the Polish folks have brought, something unique to their shows with the level of showmanship that they have with their displays. And I think that's really, really cool. Anyways, if you guys like this video, please do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you got notifications turned on so the next time that we put out a video, you get notified. Thanks again for making it all the way through the video. I hope you have a great time, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Na razie, dzięki bardzo, and see you soon.